folks who care about the state of our roads and bridges here in West Virginia, our legislators, our interested parties, a lot of county commissioners. I don't want to go through and name everyone now, but I will say that the group behind me, they've been very helpful. They're working hard to make sure that we can have all the resources we need to make sure that we're addressing the poor condition of our roads and our bridges. You know, we're here to talk about something very important for West Virginia. The state of our roads and bridges is critical because it affects everything we do. Our ability to connect with one another, our ability to drive to work, what we do when we go out to restaurants, how we live, how we play. You need to have a strong infrastructure in our state to compete. I talk a lot about having West Virginia compete with the other states that we touch, and certainly infrastructure is a critical part of that. And I don't need to tell you, can you guys hear that? It's a little bit, yeah, I know, it just wasn't. I don't need to tell you about the condition of the roads and bridges in West Virginia. It's not what our people deserve. And so we have to change that. When I took office earlier this year, I knew that fixing our roads and bridges needed to be a top priority for our state to grow. So my team and I, Secretary Rombaugh and our wonderful Deputy Secretary, we rolled up our sleeves, we dug in, we got to work. And what I can tell you is that the highway and bridge conditions that you see locally are symptoms of much larger problems that we've discovered on the state level and with the state highway system. One of the most disappointing things that we found when we took office was despite the billions of dollars that was spent in the last 8 years over highways and bridges, there was a lot of debt that was racked up. We've not made the progress that we need to maintain West Virginia's roads, bridges, and highways. And today, I'd like to speak with you openly and candidly about the problems that we face and what we're doing to fix it. The first issue we found relates to the financial management of the Department of Transportation and Division of Highways. When I came into office, what I found most alarming was that the DOT seemed to be basically out of money. If you look at the Roads to Prosperity, that was a 30-year bond. Effectively, all of the money, a little bit wasn't, but virtually all the money was already committed within 7 years. So the public didn't know that. Now I'm here to tell you that the Roads to Prosperity money, it's all gone. It's done in terms of it's not available into the future because it's effectively committed. They've all but one project left. So I want people to know that when people look at these resources out there, that it's going to be incumbent upon us going forward because the money was spent wildly in the past. And now we have to look and prepare for the future. And we have to do more with less. Also, we were designing and starting construction on highways all over the state that we had no way to pay for. Wow. And we got to the point where soon we're going to have to tell some of the contractors to stop working. That's not what we ever want to do. This policy goes against everything that our federal counterparts tell and work with states on about how you handle highway money. And a lot of the money that we have, quite frankly, is federal money. It actually got to the point where the federal government came to our administration very early in our tenure, and they said if West Virginia doesn't change the way we manage our highway system, then they were going to reduce the amount of federal funds that were coming to our state. It's pretty significant. And that reduction in funding would seriously reduce the number of highways and bridges that we're able to fund each year. Basically, the state was spending so much on some of the new highways without a clear plan for getting them done, when a basic look at our financial numbers made it obvious that we can't even afford a lot of the existing highways that are on the books. So we're going to solve that problem, and we're going to solve a few others. First, right now, according to the federal government and other surveys, 14% of the bridges in our state they're rated poor. We have to change that. Our goal may be modest, but we're working hard on it. By 2028, we have to get that number down. We have to get that number down under 10. And we also have to ensure that we're no longer ranked near the bottom of all these infrastructure rankings. That's important. We know that this year we have $1.2 billion that we're spending overall for roads and bridges and infrastructure. What's interesting, though, about that is we're spending about $120 million per year in interest costs. You think about that and add that up over a 30-year period, that's a lot of money. And so we have to get our arms around that because we know that there's a need for big investments, but we are effectively the most bonded, indebted state highway system in the country. It's a big problem. So we have to think that through, and I'm looking forward to working with the legislature to address these issues. Once again, problems that have mounted financially over a period of time that now we have a chance to ultimately fix. Now, it's important that we fix these problems, and that's why I'm here with you today. So today, I've directed the Department of Transportation to start a new project list that assesses the need for repair and replacement of bridges and highways statewide that'll prioritize the order of the projects to be completed. Right now, maintenance is going to come first. That's critical. We have to patch potholes, we have to pave roads, and we have to fix bridges. And that's going to be a critical priority. We're also going to be building new roads, but we're going to do so in collaborative ways. We might be reaching out to some of the counties and forming relationships in order to address that, taking state money, federal money, county money, and then putting it all together and leveraging some of the county resources that may not have existed before. Excuse me a second. I've directed DOT leadership. Hang on a second, please. I've directed DOT leadership to transform the DOT to focus on that maintenance, those roads and those bridges that we have. Now, this is going to be a massive culture change in state government. It's going to require that we get smarter and we use more data to prioritize the maintenance issues and we get more out of every dollar that we have. And we're going to be looking at different ways we can save so we're not overpaying for services. We also are creating a new long-term transportation plan to guide these investments in repair and maintenance of the state's highways. Now, another issue that's led to the sorry condition of West Virginia's roads and bridges has been the leadership model in Charleston. Quite frankly, the Department of Transportation had too many assistant directors and division directors relative to the money that it has to spend and money that's better spent on highways and bridges. There were some divisions in DOT that had 5 assistant directors. In most cases, it was completely unnecessary. We're getting rid of the bureaucracy. We're going to put more money on the roads and the bridges. That's what the people want. That's what the people deserve. A lot of the paperwork generated and passed around in Charleston, well, that was used as an excuse to create jobs and pay raises for some people in government. Money's no longer going to get stuck in the state capital. We got to get it out there to the highways and bridges where it belongs and all across West Virginia's 55 counties. And we have to become more efficient as state government. That includes the Department of Transportation. So I've directed DOT leadership to reduce the number of management positions in the department. I think too many people were drawing too high salaries and too little work was being done. Thanks to the new leadership that we have, that is changing. We're going to spend the money on our state's highways and bridges instead, where it's going to benefit you and your neighbors. We're also going to work to use new technologies to help reduce the amount of paperwork that bogs down employees and wastes valuable time. And I want to take this opportunity to really commend the legislature to some of the work they did in terms of the permitting processes this year. A major part of my legislative agenda was reducing red tape and getting out of the way of production and innovation. We passed House Bill 2002 to create a one-stop permitting process to streamline the permitting processes here in West Virginia. That system will end up speeding up the permitting systems by eliminating a lot of government restrictions and red tape. It's going to be good, faster, stronger, better for West Virginia. Third issue. When I took office, I was alarmed to find out that the state highway system is responsible for $909 in highway debt for every person in the state of West Virginia. Most of the other states across the country have transportation debt of about $500 to $600 per person. Now, these are things you inherit over a multi-decade period, but we have to begin to change that. We have to be thoughtful in terms of the indebtedness that we have. We need to be even more creative in our public-private partnerships. There was seemingly no regard for how a repayment plan would impact the maintenance program every year, and what maintenance and repair programs have to be canceled to pay back the loans. We're trying to be more thoughtful about that. And so too many of our leaders in the past, not of course referencing anyone here, they wanted to kick the can down the road. They wanted to saddle future generations with so much debt. Why worry if the bill's not going to come due for 8 or 10 years? Let me tell you, that is not the approach of this administration. We're going to be honest with the people of the state, talk about what's going on, and make sure that we're getting the resources we need, and we're also addressing the matters at hand so we're not saddling future generations with massive debt. But we also need to confront the fact that the reason why we have this highway debt is that for decades, the state's permanent political class didn't solve all the problems of highway funding. Now, I'm not here to cast aspersions on them. The fact is, these are very difficult things. For a small state, we have one of the largest state highway systems in the country. We have to acknowledge that. But one of the things that we're talking about today are partnerships with counties, working with them. So if there's a big project that you're interested in, you can work with the county even more aggressively than you've seen in the past, because that's critical. Because the state doesn't have the resources to address every single need that's out there. Fourth issue, transparency. We need to be more transparent about the decisions that are made in the highway department. We want to make sure you're updated about the financial status of all the projects that are out there, and just generally where we stand financially. We don't want to leave you in the dark on financial issues. You guys need to have that quality and resource information for you to do planning, and you need to know how soon the roads and bridges can be fixed. I think that's important. And you need to know when money is available to do just that. In the future, we're focusing on data-driven and evidence-based decisions. I abhor these decisions that are just made on politics. Who screams the loudest? Not the way we work. We're going to do this based on evidence. We're going to do this based on good partnerships. And we're going to have some incredible successes as a result. We're just not going to let political decisions guide this anymore. And so to wrap things up, and before I turn it over to Secretary Rumbaugh and some of our state leaders, I want to say that West Virginia has significant financial challenges when it comes to funding for highway and bridge repair. And rather than run around and tell every town and county individually, we thought it'd be best to bring folks together, let them know, and know that there's a lot of changes that are going to be occurring in state government. We have a new team in the Department of Highways. We're going to continue, that new team's going to continue to evolve, to prioritize efficiency, good management practices, and better use of technology. We want to make good use of the taxpayers' money. It's the taxpayers' money. It should be treated with the highest priority. We're also working, once again, on our highway maintenance issues, and we're making that the top priority of our state. We're going to focus on getting rid of fraud, waste, and abuse. I know that there's a lot out there. We'll continue to make announcements about the amount of savings we expect to have, so we can pour more of that right back into bridges and roads. That's going to be critical. And also, we want to make sure that our highways and bridges are safe. You know, it may not seem like a big deal when you have a highway bridge safety problem that's getting worse and worse, right? Which would be projected to go from 14% of the bridges that pour. It would go up a lot more if we don't change course now. We are changing course, and we're going to get the bridges safer. We're going to get the roads in better condition. I also want to commend the legislature for the money that they put in place to address secondary road issues, $100 million. And I can report to you today, as a big news item, that beginning today, you will have a list of all of the existing bridge projects and secondary road projects that will be worked on over the upcoming years, and that's used by taxpayer money. You deserve to know that. You'll be able to go to the DOT website. Mr. Secretary, when will that be done by? What time today?
This afternoon.
This afternoon. You get to have it. We have a new era of leadership. We're going to promise things that we can deliver on, and I think we can get a lot done. We're going to actually make more progress with even less money. We're going to build those efficiencies, and we recognize that there are some areas of the state that have been left out in the past. We're not going to be picking favorites. We need to make sure that every part of West Virginia gets helped, and that we're focusing and helping out the economic needs of our state. The reality is that good roads and good bridges go hand in hand with good jobs across every industry sector. So that's why we're all here today. We're going to make progress on our bridges. We're going to make progress on our roads. We're going to make progress on our county and state partnerships. And we're going to make progress bringing West Virginia forward into the future where we're not 49th and 50th in infrastructure. It's not going to be easy, but I'd like to level set at the beginning. This is where we are, so that over the next few years, you can see we're going to make progress in those rankings, and then we'll all know, and then we'll keep going. We're not going to be satisfied with 49th and 50 and just have some rhetoric that suggests it's different. We have real change to put the people first. So I'm glad to be here today, and I'm especially happy to have our team here. I'd like to have Secretary Todd Rumbaugh come up and have some remarks. He's done an amazing job. You should see how quickly the culture of the Secretary of Transportation, what he's been able to do, and how it's changing the department. I've heard so much good feedback about his work and his leadership, and he's focusing on the basics, the blocking and tackling that gets things done. Mr. Secretary, thank you for all of your good work.
Well, I'd like to start out by thanking you all for being here this morning. I know it's good to be here with everyone. I'd just like to quickly acknowledge part of my team that I have here with me today. I'd like to ask these few folks to stand up. Deputy Secretary Michael Demers, State Highway Engineer Jacob Gardner, Chief Engineer of Program and Planning Jihan El Saeed, Brent Walker, the Executive Director of Public Relations. I want to give a special thanks to Earl Gaskins, our District 4 Manager, and his team for hosting this board. But also, Governor Morrisey, I'd like to thank you for your transformational leadership and your strong support for transportation and infrastructure in West Virginia. I'm both honored and grateful to serve you as the Secretary of Transportation. Appreciate you. As we face ongoing funding challenges, our focus must be clear. Preserving, maintaining roads and bridges we already have, ensuring the safety of every traveler, and investing in the workforce that makes all of it possible. While we've made some important headway in the past, the reality is clear. We're falling behind in preserving and maintaining our existing assets. Across the board, from deteriorating pavement to rusting beams, we are seeing the consequences of decades of underinvestment in maintenance. Deferred maintenance does not go away. It gets more expensive and more dangerous over time. That's why we must shift the focus and resources towards preserving what we already have. Maintenance is not flashy, but it is foundational. A dollar spent on preventive maintenance today saves $6 to $10 in reconstruction costs tomorrow. As many of you are aware, the recent TRIP report highlighted a critical challenge facing West Virginia, and that is the condition of our bridges. According to that report, 1 in 5 of bridges in West Virginia are classified as structurally deficient or rated in poor condition, placing us among the top 5 states in the country with the highest percentage of aging bridges that need significant repair. That's not just a statistic. These are bridges our school buses cross, our ambulances rely on, and our freight commerce depend upon. When bridges are weight restricted, deteriorated, or closed, it impacts safety. It detours your daily lives and places added burdens on the local economies. That's why, urging and support of Governor Morrisey, one of our top priorities is maintaining, rehabilitating, and when necessary, replacing our aging structures. Additionally, we've made a commitment to Governor Morrisey and to the people of West Virginia that we will drive down the number of poor condition bridges to below 10%. This is not just a goal for us, it is a promise rooted in responsibility, resilience, and results. We owe it to our residents, our industries, and our future to ensure that the infrastructure is not just functional, but resilient, safe, and forward-looking. Together we are building a transportation network that meets the needs of today and stands strong for generations to come. We're just not patching potholes and repairing bridges. We're protecting school bus routes, ensuring access to hospitals, and supporting the movement of goods and services across the state. Maintenance is a matter of safety, economic competitiveness, and quality of life. So in the coming months, we'll continue to support Governor Morrisey, work with our lawmakers, community leaders, and the public to advocate for this critical need. Because when we invest in infrastructure, we're investing in West Virginia's future. Thank you again, Governor Morrisey, and thank you all.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary, and he really is doing a terrific job. I couldn't imagine having a better leadership at DOT. It's going to make all the difference in the world. And one thing I do want to say is that when we make promises, you're going to be able to count on them. I'm not just going to give you a catchphrase, right? We're going to say, we got to move the needle. We have to do better with our roads and bridges. This is just the beginning. You have some targets for 2028. We'll keep going further out. We've also had really good conversations with the federal DOT. I think I mentioned that we had a meeting with Secretary Duffy about a month and a half ago. Great meeting. And I know he cares, the Trump administration cares a great deal about West Virginia. So there are new partnership opportunities. And we're always looking for ways to improve, to get better public-private partnerships, have lower interest on our loans, always ways to drive more efficiencies. Because when we succeed there, those are better roads and bridges for West Virginia. I'd like to now also give Secretary Senator Ben Queen an opportunity to speak, and then any legislator or person who would like to add a few words, I would welcome those comments. So, Ben.
Good morning, everybody. To the Governor, Mr. Secretary, thank you for starting this conversation here in North Central West Virginia. District 4 is home to a lot of hardworking men and women. I want to emphasize my pride, and I know the legislators behind me, pride of each and every one of you coming to work every day. So the men and women in neon, please know we're grateful that you show up before the sun comes up, and oftentimes go home before the sun goes down. And I want you all to know, first and foremost, that these are not problems at your level, problems at our level that we're striving to fix. And I want to thank each and every one of you, and those of you who aren't wearing the neon today. Mr. Manager, thank you for your team and the progress we see here. Governor, you said fix what we already have before chasing new projects. I think that's very encouraging to hear, especially on behalf of all the legislators here. It's a fiscal, responsible path forward. Encouraged by the renewed focus and repair of long-term fixes. Oftentimes, the most popular request in my office, and I hear from families, school bus drivers, small businesses, is our road conditions. People don't want excuses. People want progress. And I know I can speak on behalf of everyone up here, and we're committed to carrying those policy concerns forward. Mr. Governor, as caucus chair of the majority party in the Senate, I can tell you that my colleagues in the Senate, and several of them are here today, are ready, willing, and able to support real solutions. I think we're united, and I think you've seen that over the last several years, including this year. It's not over $100 million, I think, in the back of the budget. And luckily,
July 1st,
it's ready. The governor already knows that. I think the legislature is proud to put that as the first funding opportunity in the back of the budget, because we know that state roads is a core function of state government. I think it's important that we must be honest about the debt and the risk of losing federal funds. I think a data-driven approach, and I think this legislature has been proud to bring a transparent approach, is responsible. Governor, I see there's some contractors also in the audience, and I think that I think Senator Eric Carr would be disappointed if I didn't say this. Want to pay our bills on time. I think it's important. I think the legislature has made that a priority, because if we don't pay our bills on time, our contractors are going to go work somewhere else. So the contractors that are here today, thank you for continuing to be here, and thank you for taking a chance on us, and thank you for employing local people. Governor, let's not just make this a press conference. I'm excited for the ability to pave new roads, fix potholes, and I can tell you that not only the state Senate, but I know the entire legislature is committed to work with the governor, no matter when you may call us in, Governor, if there are policy changes that the state legislature needs to fix, and make sure that these men and women in neon today can get to work fast and safe. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking a chance on making our business. It's so exciting to see all this commerce. Governor, we're proud that North Central West Virginia is continuing to get larger and the business economy is continuing to grow. But to do that, we need a welcoming section of food and transportation. So thank you for having me.
By the way, I want to make it clear, under our administration, we want to pay our bills on time and not just push them way off to the future, maybe inherited by a new governor. We don't want that. So we want to pay the bills as they come in. That's important. I want to make sure we give other people, the legislators, an opportunity to speak. Senator Oliveri.
I want to thank the governor for coming to North Central West Virginia and drawing attention to our road issues. I want to thank Mr. Gaskins, our District 4 supervisor here, and the whole team of District 4. You know, this is the 7th governor that I have served with as the state senator. And this is the first district manager who has got in my car and allowed me to drive him around my district and point out each of the problems that we have. And he's been making an effort with our county commission, Tom Bloom, who's here today, other cities, to try to address some of these issues. So I salute that type of leadership. Another thing that I've observed with previous governors is it's awfully easy to say yes to a project. And it's easy to start some architectural and engineering drawings for projects that may never have an opportunity to succeed. And this focus on the maintenance is very important. But there are also some projects that have to be built and have to be completed. And some of those are here in North Central West Virginia. And we want to strike a balance with the dollars that we have available of maintaining our roads, making sure that they're safe, and at the same time continuing our focus on growth. And that will be my priority as a member of the Senate Transportation Committee, as a member of the Finance Committee, is that we continue to do that. So I want to thank everybody that came out today. I want to support this governor. I want him to be very successful. I want West Virginia to achieve new levels of success like we've never had before. And I want us to use the dollars that we have as wisely and prudently as possible. So thank you all for being here, Governor. Thank you for your renewed focus on transportation, and look forward to working with you.
I promise you that Mike wears you out. He comes and talks about road issues a lot, so I'm very glad that you're here today. And I'm excited to keep working with the representatives in North Central West Virginia. It really matters. I know that I'm aware of a lot of the problems you've had in the past. I'm going to work hard to fix it. We've already put things in motion with the team we have to make the changes. I hope you're noticing a difference in Department of Transportation management in this area, and soon you'll notice a lot more. Also like to give a new delegate an opportunity to speak who's been very focused on road issues and DOT matters. He's doing a good job. Delegate David McCormick.
Let me get my prepared remarks out here. I just want to thank the governor for giving me this opportunity and thank him for his leadership and recognizing that maintenance is important. And, you know, we're sitting in the middle of this district is the hot growth area of the state. When people come here, whether it's to the FBI or football games or whatever the case may be, you know, one of the first things they notice is the roads. And if you're looking to open up a business here or in Morgantown or in Fairmont or anywhere in the district, frankly, you know, this needs to be a focus. It hasn't been in the past. In my brief time in the legislature, I've had the good fortune and opportunity to meet the secretary, Mr. Gaskins, and Earl's, you know, Mike's spot on. You know, Earl's rolled up his sleeves and really wants to do better, wants to make this situation better, and maintenance is critical. And from a business standpoint, especially people traveling around from out of state or around the state, and they come to our area and see the conditions of the roads in the past, and also having the courage to recognize that, you know, you can't build a new road overnight. And like the secretary said, you know, maintenance is where the focus needs to be, and I agree. Whether it's cutting grass or removing snow or paving a road or a pothole or whatever the case may be, I feel comfortable that the team that's in place, the governor's leadership, is going to make some drastic improvements. So I just want to thank you again for the opportunity and thank everyone today for coming.
Well, once again, thank you all for coming today. I'm grateful. I'm going to go to the back and take some questions from the press. But let me reiterate, better maintenance, improved status of our bridges and our roads, increased transparency. You're going to be able to go on the website and see for yourselves what we're talking about. And that's important. You have to judge us based on actions and what we're doing, not just on fake promises. This is a new era. We're looking to do everything to go forward to improve the partnerships between the state the federal government and the counties. And so while there'll be a lot of focus on maintenance, there will be some new projects still, but that's going to take the new special projects with the county and counties stepping up and others, private sector stepping up to make it happen. But I'm looking forward to a good stretch ahead for our roads and our bridges. We cannot be 49th and 50th in this category. We must do better, and we will do better. So thank you all for coming, and God bless.